Welcome everybody to ADAAMA'S series of live webinars for dental practice managers. My name is Renata Emilianowicz and I'm one of the co-directors of ADAAMA along with Sharon Lee. So today we have Adam Smagarinsky. He is from Practice Boost in Sydney and he is one of our trusted ADAAMA membership affiliates. So I will hand it over to Adam now.
Awesome. So let me tell you a little bit about my background in Practice Boost before we get started. So Practice Boost, we are a marketing company that focuses exclusively on helping dental and medical practices establish a great online presence and making sure that they have lots of patients and the practices are thriving. We've been specializing in dental marketing for many years now. We've worked with practices all around Australia, almost in every single state in Australia. We're focused exclusively on this industry, and a lot of practice managers and owners have had nice things to say about us. So we've had lots of lovely Google reviews left. And I think because we are hyper-focused on the dental and medical industry, it allows us to see what's happening in the industry as a whole. What are the trends that are happening? What are patients looking for? And this gives us insights that I think will be quite valuable to everyone on the call today. So today, we'll be talking about a couple things. So firstly, the dental marketing landscape and the marketing landscape overall in 2026, AI search, and how AI search engines are ranking clinics. So AI is a big mega trend. People are always asking and curious what's going to happen with AI and how does it affect dental practices and how does it affect dental practices when patients are searching for their services. So that's something we'll get into. We'll talk about Google Maps and Google Ads optimization and how Google is still very important, even with the emergence of AI. And lastly, we'll talk about social media and how to build trust around your services, your practice, in a visual format. Great. So in terms of the key trends that we're seeing in 2026. So firstly, there's more competition and more practices than ever before. Practices are opening, and so there's more and more competition, and more practices are fighting for the same patients. Attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. People are, for example, watching reels, they're swiping, they want to make a decision in 5 seconds, they don't want to think, they want to, it has to be very clear for them when they're interacting online. Cost of living pressures are affecting patient decisions. And so patients are thinking about, do they need this procedure? How is it going to benefit them? Maybe putting it off. So we need to be more smart with our marketing. And lastly, because of these factors above, the cost to get a new patient into the practice is rising. And ultimately what this means is we need to be smarter with our marketing to make sure that every dollar that we're putting into marketing, every hour of time that we're putting into marketing gives us a bigger return on investment. Because what might have worked last year, a couple of years ago, well, won't necessarily work now. So we need to evolve with the times. So I'll start off with discussing a little bit about the digital marketing channels that are available to us to attract and retain patients. So first on the left is Facebook. Facebook's been around for a while and it continues to be an important advertising channel. Then there's Instagram, which continues to grow in importance. And Facebook and Instagram are both owned by the same company called Meta. Facebook targets a slightly older demographic, while Instagram targets a younger demographic. Then there is email and SMS. Email and SMS is a good digital marketing channel, but it mainly focuses on existing patients rather than new patients because to have a person's email or SMS means they would have interacted with you in the past, and so that's how you have their contact details. Google continues to be a critical channel. When people are searching for something, they go online and they search for a service, and so it's critical to be on the top of Google. Then there's your website. Your website, again, critical. People visit your website. They will need to understand what services you offer, where are you based, how to contact you. They want to understand your team, that you're experienced, you're caring, etc. And then AI search, which is what we will dig into more, is an emerging channel. So we'll get into it shortly about ChatGPT, Gemini, all these new emerging channels where people who are once searching on Google are now searching on ChatGPT to get the information. So as these channels continue to emerge, there's also TikTok, which is in here. There's multiple other channels. We have to be smarter and pick what's going to actually drive the highest return on investment for us. So what's happening with AI search? So AI search is making up around 5 to 10% of all searches, and it's growing rapidly. So what I mean here is, for example, ChatGPT or Gemini, Claude, whatever it might be, instead of going on Google, they're now going on ChatGPT. And we'll get into what patients are searching, but they're searching for things like, best dentist near me, and then informational questions as well. 26% of patients are using AI tools to inform their decision-making and choose which healthcare provider to use. The major players or AI search engines are ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Copilot. Also, Google is launching its own Google AI search, and that will also be a big share of how patients will find their dentists in the future. And then lastly, common searches, and we'll get into this onto the next page, but we'll discuss what patients are actually searching when they go into ChatGPT. So what are patients actually searching when they go onto ChatGPT? So the most common search is best dentist near me or best dentist insert suburb. Because at the end of the day, people want to go to the most trusted dentist, the most experienced dentist, and the word best in a way summarizes all these different components into one word. So a lot of people are searching for the word best dentist near me. Then they're also searching things like family dentist near me. It could be emergency dentist open now in insert suburb or location. So those are more of the general queries focused around dentistry as a whole when they're looking for a patient now. And then there's also procedure-specific questions or informational-based queries that patients are searching, like, am I suitable for dental implants? How much do dental implants cost? Questions about veneers, teeth whitening, emergency dental, wisdom teeth extraction. And these informational based questions also provide clinics an opportunity to provide useful information and be picked up here and recommended here. So there's two main ways to be identified. One, just by appearing as a high quality dentist, in terms like dentist near me, best dentist near me, and then also by providing useful content in terms of different procedures and questions patients might be asking their ChatGPT. Great. So now you're probably asking, okay, that's great. Patients are searching stuff online, but how does AI actually rank different clinics, and how do I get my clinic actually featured on the top? So as I said before, so when you search best onto ChatGPT or another search engine, Google interprets the word best using factors like trust, safety, using review websites to understand, okay, what are people actually saying? Are they having a good experience? Are they having a bad experience? So that's how it looks at, and we'll go into even more detail on the next slide, but that's how it considers best, mainly looking at reviews and what other people are having to say about your clinic. So it's going to be critical more than ever to continue to build amazing reviews about your practice. And we'll get into a bit later how to actually get more reviews, but it's important to get reviews on Google. Another actual website that ChatGPT and these AI platforms use heavily is Reddit. Reddit is actually a big data source. So if you can have your practice mentioned in a Reddit article about best dentist in Melbourne or something like that, it's actually a great way to enhance your ranking on these AI platforms. The AI is also looking at genuine local relevance and your physical location. So if someone says best dentist in, let's say, Bondi Beach in Sydney, AI will look, okay, does this business have a Google Maps listing? And does it say Bondi Beach? It will look at the website and say, does it say Bondi Beach? It will look at these different data sources to make sure that you are actually in Bondi, to make sure that it's providing its users the most up-to-date and relevant information. Then ChatGPT is also, and these other AI platforms, are looking at information from your website about your expertise and credibility and what you're having to say and the wording you use about yourself, which is really important. So on your website and your own channels, whether it's social media or your website, if you're positioning yourself as let's say a leading veneers dentist or a family dentist caring for the family, it's going to pick up on those keywords, and that's how it will position you. So that's something important to think about in terms of the wording you use on your own website. And lastly, it'll filter for safety and consistency across platforms to ensure that it's providing patients with genuinely the best practice in the area. Before I move on to the next slide, does anyone have any questions?
Actually, I do, Adam.
Yep, perfect.
Really interested about Reddit, because I've seen a few things on socials, little ads pop up about Reddit and, getting yourself listed on Reddit or something like that. And I'll be honest, I don't know much about Reddit. Seems like an American thing to me. I don't know too much about it. So you were mentioning about getting your practice listed on an article, or how does all that work?
Yeah. So Reddit is essentially it's a forum style website where someone can ask a question and through the community people answer. And it's definitely bigger in the US. However, it still does appear on Google search in Australia. And so it does appear at the top. And ChatGPT sources Reddit as a key database for where it gets information. And so
does that mean that you're sort of relying on someone else to write something in the forum, or how does a practice or a manager get their practice onto Reddit?
Yeah, definitely. So there's probably cheeky ways and non-cheeky ways to do that. I would say, the best practice way is to provide exceptional experience to your patients so that people leave genuine good feedback about the practice. And you can, for example, as you would maybe ask for a review with a QR code, you can ask patients to leave some comments on Reddit.
I was just thinking that as you were saying it, is that something that you think practices should try?
I definitely think you should try because you don't necessarily need the same volume. With Google these days, 50 reviews is considered not that much these days with some practices. I've seen practices with 500 to 1,000 reviews. But on Reddit, you only need 1 or 2 mentions.
Interesting.
Yes. So you don't need the same volume of reviews. So it's definitely something to consider. maybe just getting asking one or two patients to leave a review can work. Yeah. So
Great,
it's
thank
definitely
you.
worth investigating. However, having said that, practices can be in their different, stages of review collection. There's some practices who are really great. They've got lots of reviews and they've already got an amazing Google presence. It's probably worth trying to build their Reddit presence. But if you're a practice that doesn't have many reviews and are still trying to build that muscle in the practice of asking for reviews, I would focus on Google first before you go to Reddit, because Google is still the #1 channel that patients use, and Google is still the #1 source that ChatGPT uses when recommending practices. So ChatGPT is going to be referencing Google the most. So focus first on your Google, and then once that's in a great place, then start looking at Reddit. That's my recommendation. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Renata. All right. So this page here goes into a little bit more detail about, so what can I actually do for my clinic and my website to make sure that I'm appearing above Mr. Dentist 500 meters down the road when someone's searching for a dentist in our suburb, or Mrs. Dentist. So first area is making sure, a lot of these points here essentially are about making sure your website is very informative and has useful content. So one way to look at that is your service pages. So you want to make sure that you have clear service pages, and by service, I might mean teeth whitening, veneers, implants, checkup and clean, crowns and bridges, whatever it might be. Make sure that you have very informative content on each of the services that your practice offers. So make sure to explain, how it works, who's a useful candidate, who might not be a useful candidate, what are the typical, how much could it cost, what's the recovery process, what does a consultation involve. All these frequently asked questions can be really helpful to put on your website for each individual service, because ChatGPT will fundamentally have more information to pull from and position you as a authoritative and reputable practice, and therefore above others. And everything that applies for ChatGPT also applies for Google in a nutshell, with your search engine optimization. Because what's going to put you at the top of Google is also going to put you, in most cases, on the top of ChatGPT. Because at the end of the day, both these platforms are trying to pick up and provide users the most relevant and high quality information. So what the recommendations I have here will put you on the top of ChatGPT in your local area and also on the top of Google. The next part, which is similar to the first part, is making sure that you have natural language patient answers or frequently asked questions that match the content or mirrors the content that a person will ask ChatGPT. So we can use an example that I have here. How long do dental implants last, for example? If someone is searching that up and you have a question that matches that content very closely, then you're more likely to be sourced as an answer. So if you're working as a manager or dentist, you might be writing this content yourself, or maybe you're briefing in a company to write that content. Or maybe you're going to have a meeting with your marketing company about the content that you're creating. A good thing to do here would be either, brainstorm within the practice. What are the common questions that maybe patients are asking at the reception desk? What are they asking the dentist? Making a list, and then getting the marketing company to answer all these questions and put them on your website. Or one step better is use a marketing company that knows the dental industry that can provide those questions for you. But yeah, so definitely have a think about what questions patients are asking and having those clearly on your website. Point number 3 is all about reviews and reputation signals. So this is what we were talking about before, making sure that you have high quality reviews and you have consistent reviews. And lastly, the bonus points if your reviews actually mention the keywords that are important for your practice. So one example here is, let's say your practice is really focused on teeth whitening or veneers, or you're a cosmetic dentist, and you're getting lots of reviews with keywords like veneers. So if it says, I went to clinic XYZ, I had my veneers done by the dentist, my smile looks incredible, I recommend it to everyone. If you've got lots of reviews like that mentioning keywords around veneers, you are highly likely to be referenced when a patient searches on ChatGPT for best veneers clinic dentist near me. So it's also a bit cheeky, but if you can get those terms in your reviews, it's really going to help your AI rankings and your Google rankings. And making sure that you're getting reviews consistently over time is also really helpful, because you're constantly telling the algorithm that you're getting more and more reviews, you're an active business. If you get one review this week, another review in 2 months, another one in 3 months, it's still great, but it's better to have a consistent cadence. So making sure that you have you're incentivizing the reception team to leave reviews, having a QR code in at the reception desk are all helpful tips to get patients to leave a review. Lastly, or second last point, number 4, is ChatGPT AI and Google is always looking to provide users with the most reputable information. So if you're highlighting your team and your dentist profiles and their years of experience, it's with real photos, then these search engines, ChatGPT, etc., are more likely to position you because you're more authentic and real. And lastly, digital consistency. So making sure that your information is correct and matches across all the different platforms. So if you've got a social media profile, a Google Maps profile, your website information, and any other platform, your Apple Maps listing, whatever it might be, making sure that your information is consistent and accurate across all of them, because the platforms behind the scenes are cross-checking all your information. And if there's a lot of mismatching, it's a signal that maybe your business isn't as reliable or as authentic, and you can get slightly penalized if the data is not consistent. So definitely have a think about that, as you might change address, you might change phone numbers. Opening hours not quite as important, but the main 3 factors are your name, your address, and your phone number. So if you're going to practices quite frequently might rebrand or change their name or something like that, think about making sure to update your name across all listings, and also thinking about not using an abbreviation of your name and using the full name everywhere, because sometimes practices might publish their name slightly differently on different platforms. So making sure it's consistent across all of them. Cool. Any questions or thoughts from anyone?
I'll pipe up if someone doesn't have a question. Full of questions, Adam, full of questions.
Yeah.
You said before about you could be penalized by, is it by Google or ChatGPT or something like that? What is like the penalty? What could possibly happen?
It's a strong word. It's
yeah.
Rather than penalty, it's more like you're not going to be rewarded, or you're not going to be reaching your potential, rather than so don't think about it, APRA's coming or something like that. It's more it's more like you're not reaching your potential by
what would that look like though?
That would look like in practice you not being recommended as number 1 on ChatGPT or on Google search, because behind the scenes, the Google, for example, Google or AI, it's got a complex algorithm that's deciding who do I show first. one of those factors they will consider is the consistency of the practice's information across platforms. If Renata's practice has great consistency, the platforms will think it's very reputable, it's been established for a long time, I'm more likely to position it high. But if my practice has different names on different platforms, the address has slight variations, the phone number is different, it can confuse the engine and therefore not rank me as high as my competitor. So yeah, there's no one's coming to tap you on your shoulder, but you won't be reaching your potential.
Yeah, I gathered that much. No, that's great to know. Thank you.